Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And that is, of course, cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on the Twitter machine. What you up to, yo Tissy Hober?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, it's another mailbag, and we're heading into the weekend. Means I'm going to drink with you as usual, man.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Trying to light up another alcohol sponsor for the show, Shane. So I'm not naming what I'm drinking until someone pays me to name it. How about that?
That's good. That's good. Everybody knows what I'm drinking, though. So, and they're still not taking our calls. So, whatever. Oh, man. Hey, big old good. Got the walk going on, son. Just finished another day of, well, we don't call it Big Orange. Cousin Shane's Countdown. It'll take some getting used to. So, I had a blast, man. Feeling pretty good. I'm surprised I've made it this long. I wonder, has Vegas released the odds for how long Shane is actually going to continue this walking venture?
Well, I noticed they get later and later, and we're at day 3. So, I mean, I put the over-under at 2, so you've already smashed it. You've already hit day 3, so I'm proud of you.
Dude, I feel like this is the one. I don't know what it is, Mike. I know it's going to be tough, but I feel like this is the first time I'm going to get 100 days actually in. But I will say this, brother, the countdown, always my favorite time of the year. I'm going through these highlights, and I went with Debo today, and with the 98-yard, kickoff return, and that was a phenomenal game. And it was funny because I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe this is a rivalry, because South Carolina fans are like, hell no, it ain't no rivalry. But Mizzou fans are like, of course it's not a rivalry. We've been winning 5 years in a row, So it's like going back and forth there. But I had to not do several other 98. So it's sad, but it is fun kind of picking through those. And I've not got any. I asked a simple request. If you've got one that you want, like you're thinking, hey, a 48-yard touchdown or a 38-yard touchdown that you really liked, or maybe you were at, send those to me. Any help would be appreciated.
Yeah, I know I would appreciate it too. Maybe you're asking me to do something for once, Shane. How about that?
Maybe in a roundabout way. I'm just asking my cousin for a little help here.
Well, all right, buddy. Hey, we got a loaded mailbag. Yeah. And hey, if you're here in the chat, maybe you missed the mailbag submission, throw us a donation or something, and we're happy to answer any questions the people got on the live chat as well, Shade. But real quick, want to shout out our buddy Tyler McComas. He came on the show last episode. Yeah. Go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Oklahoma Insider. He does a daily show. He does a podcast. That was a hell of a time, and he's helping us behind the scenes for an upcoming trip to Norman, Shane. Because Oklahoma, Texas, it's official. I know we've been acting like they're in the SEC for about 2 years now, Shane, but it's not official till July 1st, and they're having a big event. So more on that later, but shout out Tyler. Appreciate all the help he's given us behind the scenes. But man, are you ready? I don't know if you're ready, Shane, for this version of Mailbag. These seem to go off the rails pretty quickly. You ready for the first question here?
Heck yeah, brother. Let's do it.
All right. Cousin Brandon Head. I hope that's his real name. That's a cool name, Shane. But he's calling me out right off the top rope. How come Cousin Shane interacts with all the fans on Twitter, but Mike is too good to interact with us on the Twitter machine? Let's start with you, Shane. Why do you think that is? And do you have a comment there?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, it is getting tougher. And to be fair, my following is not near as large as yours, Mike. But you tagged me in the spread things the other day, and
I figured I'd give you a taste of the medicine here, Shane.
I woke up to like a billion things. So, I mean, it's easy to overlook it. So what I'll do now is anytime I'm tagged in one of yours, I immediately mute it. So then I can go back to it, because it is hard. Sometimes you get lost. I don't know how many times I got to click on show more, and then find out later that I totally missed one.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, the truth is, Shane, if you're featured on my Twitter timeline, it's probably because I'm trolling you. So you would be wise to step off there. But no, I have really made an effort, Shane, where I'm trying to get and where I try to respond to everybody I possibly can is on YouTube. So jump on over if you're not already on the YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, all that, and write a message. Even if you're blasting us, I even respond to those over there. So that's kind of where I've shifted my attention, and it's like you said, it's because I just have so many that I can't possibly see them all. You know what?
Absolutely. Well, and I'm an addict. All right. My screen time, if you look at it, is ridiculous. I mean, if I would have told you 30 years ago that if you pulled up my phone and X was the thing I was looking at for about 10 hours a day, I thought my life has gone down the wrong path. But that's what they call the Twitters now, and I'm addicted to that machine. So anytime you send something to me, if I catch it, I'll try to reply.
Yeah. Hey, shout out cousin Lynn just gave us a $2 donation, but no question there from Lynn. If you got a question for us, Lynn, shoot it our way. We're happy to answer it. All right, how about next one? This is a good one, Shane. One of our most loyal fans. We love our loyal fans here. Cousin Justin, a.k.a. Hot Rod here. He's got, of course, an Arkansas question, so let me throw up Arkansas schedule for you real quick. But he wants to know of the road games, Shane, for the Arkansas Razorbacks. They got 4 games on the road. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. 4 home games. These are critical now. Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas. Of those 4, which do the Hogs have the best chance of winning? And before you answer, Shane, he just wants you to know 3 of those teams have not beat Coach Sam Pittman in Fayetteville. So be careful with your answer here.
Oh, man. You tried to convince me the other day that it was the Tennessee Volunteers, but I'm going to say October 19th, even though I love them, the LSU Tigers. It just seems like in years past, this is a rivalry that somehow stays close, and I know we're kind of frown against, some of the earlier seasons, last seasons, but I'm telling you right now, brother, there's just something about this Arkansas team, mainly at the quarterback. I'm in love with Green. I just think that he is one of those dudes that's going to kind of keep you in the game. And if LSU's defense does not improve, watch out, man. We may have ourselves another little bit of shootout here, and maybe this year it goes Arkansas's way.
You're going to be so mad, Shane.
Don't you say it, Mike.
I'm going to say Tennessee, most likely up. I mean, that's just would be the Tennessee way, wouldn't it? They rarely play Arkansas. It's on the road. You're overlooking it. Again, I'll throw up Tennessee's schedule here, Shane, but it's sandwiched between Oklahoma, which that's going to be your first SEC game. So much hype, so much anticipation for that. And, of course, that Florida one that every Tennessee fan's got circled. I think that's a perfect trap game for them Arkansas Razorbacks. If there's one, I think we can admit, Shane, even though, the biggest homers out there for Arkansas can admit their roster is not up to elite standard. So that typically means late in the season, you lose a key player here or there. It's going to be tough to beat an Ole Miss. It's going to be tough to beat a Texas. But can you get, hopefully we don't have any big-time injuries, but we know that's just not a reality in football. So I think earlier in the season is an opportunity for Arkansas to upset a team like Tennessee. Am I crazy with that take?
No, I that's what I'm saying. When you're looking at a team like Arkansas, that competitive depth, like you're saying, is that's a factor, man. And we try to pretend that, hey, our top 11 could go against your top 11. But at the end of the day, it's not 11 that's out there. It's usually a rotational thing. And if you don't have those guys coming in to give those boys a spell, then you just can't go the distance. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you here. If you're going to get them, you got to get them early. And, I mean, you're getting them after a bye, I think, with the LSU game. So that also helps.
Right. And I kind of, I talked down Tennessee right there. Let's bring him back up, Shay, because cousin Jack Duvall, he's in the mentions here. Is Tennessee going to win a Natty this year? And why is the answer yes? Shout out Jack Duvall there. So, again, we're talking about, or at least I was, about Tennessee. Now we're bringing him back up, Shay. Give us a path to Tennessee. I got the schedule here going through and winning a national championship. Kind of feels like we're 98 days away, Shane. Kind of feels like 98 up in here, if you ask me. You know what?
Absolutely, man, because this is a year you only need 10 wins. And once you get in the dance, you're there, buddy. And one of the things I love about Tennessee is not just Nico, even though I'm in love with him. Too bad I've already named my kids because I'd name them Nico. But I am also in love with the big boys up front, and this team is deep on both sides of it. That's why I think they're set to go the distance. This is a team that will get better as the year goes on, as the chemistry develops, as some of these new young players emerge. Tennessee Vols has to win 10. I think there's 3 question marks on their schedule right now: Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia. You win 2, you're in.
Right, and couldn't it be?
Or 1, I'm sorry. If you win 1, you're in.
Yeah. Just think of 2 years ago when they went on that hot run, Shay, that no one essentially saw coming. They struggled early against, who was it, Pitt. I mean, that was an overtime game. And I can't recall, because we don't care about Pitt, but it's not like Pitt was some dynamic team here. But when you start to win, particularly on the road, that's what I could see it. I could see, like, NC State pushing them to overtime. Yeah. I could see Oklahoma having a lead in that game in Norman in the fourth quarter. But if you can find a way and you will your team, you start to believe with a young quarterback that you can beat these teams. And if you can, hell, I know I just said Arkansas, but if they beat NC State away from home, if they beat Oklahoma and Norman, they're going to kill Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they should beat Florida. And now, right to what you just said, Alabama at home, Georgia on the road. Hell, you might be able to even lose both of those and make the college football playoff. I don't know if I'd go that far, but if you beat one of them, you're in. So, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the path for Tennessee. Nico breaking out, James Pierce living up to all this hype. This is, people like to mock Tennessee, but the defense keeps getting better and better under Josh Heupel. Now, they tend to have an ugly performance there. Get rid of that. And if this is the best defense they've had, and they have an elite offense like they typically do, Tennessee's going to be in it all year long. And the key is, in years past, like they lost to Georgia in Athens, season's over, essentially. It'd take a miracle for us to make the 4-team playoff. Well, we don't have to think like that anymore. And we all have to kind of change our thinking. If LSU drops an opener again, that it's doom and gloom. Remember, that was my national championship pick last year. That looked pretty stupid week 1, right? If they get upset and they lose to Southern Cal somehow, some way, that eliminates them from nothing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This year is going to be unique. I can't wait for it.
No, going through this, everyone's optimistic about their teams, and rightfully so. This is where we're at. And as a Vol fan, you're not saying any different. I will tell you, you go back 10 years when we were just in the trenches and it was just like, there was just no light at the end of the tunnel. Now you're going into seasons convincing yourself that you could make a college football, that you could win the national championship. And that's where you want to be. That's where you want your program at. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but at least they're in conversation about it.
Right. And just thank God you're not sitting here asking, can Tennessee make a bowl game? I mean, that's what you were asking just a couple years ago. You know what?
Are we going to fire coach this year?
All right, how about that? I love this question, Shane, and I love this name too. A pimp named Truman. I hope his name's Truman because that would be pretty awesome. What rookie recruit / transfer portal player will have the biggest impact for their team this year? So I got one for all 16 SEC teams. How about it, Shane? I did a little bit of research here. Well, I had the time here. So, again, I'll just go in alphabetical order, and you let me know, maybe if I completely omit one or miss one in your mind.
Got it.
Alabama, I'm going receiver. Jeremy Bernard, he's a transfer from Washington. He'll know the system. He's familiar with the coach. They already said during the spring game, he's going to start. So give me the receiver from Washington.
Yeah, I mean, they did get an offensive lineman back, but yeah, I'll go with the receiver.
All right, how about Arkansas?
You hate fat people. I get it. Go on, Mike.
I think it's too obvious for Arkansas, but it's quarterback Taylon Green from Fresno State. That's got to be the answer, right?
Got to be the answer.
All right, I think this may be the only freshman on the list here, Shane. Auburn, I'm going receiver Cam Coleman, the next Megatron, whatever they're calling him down there. He looks like an elite day one player.
Over, under 1,000 yards receiving this year.
His quarterback is still Peyton Thorne, right? So I'll go under. I'm going under.
Okay.
All right, how about Florida? This was a tough one. Florida was a tough one. I almost went DJ Lagway, but I can't on one podcast say Graham Mertz is going to be the breakout star of the SEC and say the backup's going to be massively important. So I went receiver Chamir Deke from Wisconsin. He was with Graham Mertz back at Wisconsin. They're saying he's a day one starter. So I think there's an opportunity to emerge as maybe the best receiver in Gainesville down there.
Yeah. You know how you see all these little stats coming out, and they're like, hey, these guys, apparently Florida's got a sneaky good wide receiver room all of a sudden. So, yeah, it's definitely going to help having this kid in there.
Now, cover your ears, Florida, for just saying that, because at Georgia, I think it's an easy answer. Running back Trevor Etienne, that's got to be him, right?
Absolutely. When you think of the Georgia Bulldogs, you think about running, and something they kind of struggled here lately. I just think that this is the dude that they need to have that X factor to kind of get them out of the box, if you will.
Now, for Kentucky, again, basically all the quarterbacks are easy. Shane's guy, Brock Vandergriff, if he's not the biggest impact, we got big-time issues here.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he knows 2 or 3 construction guys if you need shingles or something like that.
All right, LSU, this was a little bit of a tough one as well, Shane, but I'm going receiver C.J. Daniels. He's the guy from Liberty. He was one of their best players, and allegedly, according to the Liberty coach, LSU paid him $300,000 and gave him a house. And if you're giving someone $300,000 in a house, allegedly, then you better be a big impact player.
He better be. Absolutely.
Now, a lot of candidates for Ole Miss, Shane, could have went many different directions. You got Walter Nolan, you got Princely, but I think the transfer, I've said this many times, Shane, I think the transfer that is being overlooked in all the transfer portal Kings editions is Juice Wells, receiver. If he's the player he was 2 years ago for South Carolina, he may be the best receiver, not only in the SEC. Well, we got Luther Burton, but I mean, at the time, he looked like one of the best. So I'm putting him top 2, top 3 if he's healthy, if he lives up to his potential. Give me Juice Wells, Ole Miss.
Don't quote me on this, but I think I had Juice as the number 1 receiver coming into last season. So you put him on a team where he doesn't have to be the only guy out there. Absolutely. This is a scary little offense.
Yep. All right. How about, again, Mississippi State, kind of easy quarterback, Blake Shapen from Baylor. That's got to be the guy. Mizzou, Shade, I think we already know because, hell, I just put out a tweet about this and it went viral again. Offensive tackle.
Oh, big guy.
From Oklahoma, Caden Green. Come on down. He's going to be a huge impact there. Oklahoma, I'm going receiver Deion Burks from Purdue.
Yeah.
South Carolina was another one. All right, I've already seen it in the comments. Goggles. Well, he's a second-year player, so technically not eligible. But I'm going running back, Rocket Sanders. Again, 2 years ago, he was dynamic, led the SEC in rushing. If he can get up to that caliber again, he's going to be a game breaker for the Gamecocks. Tennessee, a couple of different ways I could have went, Shane, but I'm going with the left tackle, Lance Hurd from LSU. See, I don't hate all the big people.
And I would have went receiver here. So,
Texas, this was a tough one. I'm already seeing Ryan Wingo in the comments, but I'm going receiver Matthew Golden from Houston. He was banged up last year, but 2 years ago, one of the best receivers in the country. I think he can carry that over and be that in Austin. Texas saying,
what about the Bama kid? You don't like him?
I think he's a little overrated. I mean, he's a deep ball guy, is what he is. I think Matthew Golden's a little bit more all-around receiver, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right.
Texas A&M, I'm going defensive end Nick Scourton, or I always mess up his name, Scourton from Purdue. He was the leading sack artist in the Big Ten, Shane. Texas A&M got them a pretty talented defensive line, so he's not going to have to carry the weight here. I think he makes a huge impact in Mike Elko's defense. And then last but not least, another quarterback, Vanderbilt's quarterback, Diego Pavia from New Mexico State that already whipped Hugh Freeze down there last season. So, you know, I like him.
Absolutely. Hell of a list, Mike. Man, you have been busy.
Well, hey, people give us their time, Shane. I do a little research here. One of us got to do it. You know
Absolutely. Well, I'm walking, Mike, and making videos. It takes like an hour to make the video.
Shane, just a little behind the scenes. He says off air, he's like, you know, well, first he said, I don't want to see the questions. I like to be surprised. Now he says, give me the questions so I can do some research. And then he says, anytime you tag me on something, I just mute it anyway. Yeah, I don't know what to do with him.
Well, that's a good point, Mike. I mean, it's been kind of a crazy week over here.
All right, how about this is another good one, Shane. Cousin Dylan Hand, another loyal listener here. If any SEC jobs come open this season, and, you know, he's not asking us to specifically name the jobs or anything, but could you see a former SEC coach that is not coaching in the SEC take one of these openings in the SEC? Does that make sense? Former SEC coach essentially coming back to the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one was kind of close. I don't know how close, but Dan Mullen was a name that was floating around. Ooh. That's one I could see kind of making his mark, you know, especially if the right job opens up. I don't think he's going to go for maybe a lower tier, but just that right below. I could see Dan Mullen making a push for it.
Well, look at you, Shane. I mean, he didn't even make my list, and I really picked my brain here to try to get one. Say, yeah, that's a great one. Dan Mullen, didn't even think of him, but you know what? Florida fans hate him, but I think he's great. How about this one though, Shane? I think this guy legitimately could be a head coach back in the SEC in a couple of months, and he doesn't have the best reputation in Columbia, Missouri, but he's proven himself at UNLV right now. Barry Odom, former Mizzou coach. Shane, I mean, this is a little bit of a bold take here, but I would not be stunned if he's the next Arkansas coach.
Yeah. Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
I mean, well, when you talk about the damn storyline there, oh boy, that rivalry just got fired up. So, I mean, it already is, but that'd be an interesting one. That'd be an interesting one. A lot of folks liked him up there, but there was also some mixed emotions as well. So, yeah, right. I could see Odom getting a shot.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Washington coach Jed Fish, he did really well last season at Arizona, and he was a former GA at Florida, so I'm counting him on the list. And apparently they're pretty high on him down there in Gainesville. So I don't know where he'd go, but I think you can kind of guess where I'm leaning here. If Florida disappoints, I could see Jed Fish being their next head coach.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah. See, they're saying over Bobby Petrino. Over every AD's dead body, Bobby Petrino will never be a head coach in the SEC, not even as an interim. Never again.
I think it would take a long time, like 4-5 years of good behavior and great offenses to get that opportunity.
And Shane, he's already so old. I'm looking at it right now.
I know.
What's his age? He is 63 years. So you're saying at 67.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
Papa will take over here.
Bobby's out. Bobby's out. Sorry.
All right. How about this one? I know Shane would love this.
What about interim? Now,
no,
did you see it?
They won't even interim. No.
All right.
No. He's too toxic. How about this one, Shane? I'll give you a hint. He has you blocked on Twitter.
Oh, what's his name? Penn State coach.
You look a lot alike. now that you got the glasses. Penn State's James Franklin. I could see him running from the hot seat up there if they have another disappointing. I think he's always in the rumor mill.
Interesting. Yeah, I hope not, but we'll see. No, I'm just kidding. But not really. He's not in the SEC. I can say that.
All right, how about this one? Another former Arkansas coach, not going to Arkansas or anything, but I've always thought Brett Bielema was a pretty solid coach, and he's doing it again at Illinois. He's turning them around. I think, not that he's like a serious candidate that I've heard return to the SEC, but I think he's better than a couple of coaches in the SEC right now.
Yeah, I think so. I just don't see a job, honestly. I don't see any opportunity. Or somebody just saying, you know what, let's take a chance on this cat. I don't see it right now.
Mm-hmm. Not even like Vanderbilt?
Well, he wouldn't do Vanderbilt. I don't think so. Do you think?
Have you seen that stadium they're putting it in there?
So he'd leave the Fighting Illini to go to Vandy?
I think it's a better job. Yeah, I do.
No, I don't. I don't at all.
Okay. How about this one? And this is cheating a little bit here. But Baylor coach Dave Aranda,
Yeah.
he was at LSU defensive coordinator when they won the national outstanding defensive coordinator. I can see him coming back because he's kind of on the hot seat. I can see him coming back to the SEC as a defensive coordinator.
Ooh. Oh, okay. So we're doing coordinators now.
Well, that's the only one that I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Because this is going to be a long list, Mike. There's a lot of coordinators floating around. Do you think Muschamp would ever take another shot? You think he'll ever get another shot?
Nope.
No. Oh, man. You're just out. Huh? Why you hate Muschamp?
And then one more, Shane. And this is the ultimate wild card. And I think there's only one job that he would take. They're saying Gene Chizik in the Mansions. That'd be funny, too. It ain't Gene Chizik, Shane. How about Dan Lanning at Oregon? I don't believe he turned down the Alabama. I don't know. I think his contract kept him from even being a candidate. And I don't know what his contract will look like. But just imagine here, Shane. Not that I think this would happen. Mm-hmm. But if Georgia wins another national championship, 3 out of 4, and Kirby sits here and says, you know, well, I don't know that I can top this. And maybe he goes to the NFL or something like that. All of a sudden, that's the most coveted job in the country. Mm-hmm. I think they'd get Dan Lanning, former Georgia defensive. I think he'd leave Oregon in a heartbeat to be the new Georgia coach.
Shit. Yeah. I mean, that would, because you're talking ever. You know, Dan turned it down this time to go to Alabama, quote unquote, supposedly. But, I mean, he came out and said the right things, but he also got paid. So I'm wondering if maybe later, you never know, Georgia comes open, that would be the spot right now.
Right. They're getting mad. I'm even suggesting it. I mean, hey, you're winning 3 out of 4 daddies after not doing it for 40 years. I mean, I'd take that trade.
Kirby, you want to prove that you're a better coach? Do something Saban couldn't do. Go to the NFL. Just get out of here.
All right. I put a little note here, Shane, because these next questions are coming from some pretty confident SEC fans. So I just want to make note of that. Cousin Adam Goslin here. If Ole Miss wins big, SEC champs, playoff, make it to the playoff, or hell, national champs. You see what I mean? They're feeling confident here. Does Lane Kiffin stick around if Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, or the NFL comes calling? Love the show, hotty toddy. That's from Cousin Adam there. So what do you think, Shane? If Ole Miss wins big?
Yes.
Will Lane, you didn't even let me finish it. Will Lane sniff around? Yes, you say.
Yeah, he'll stay. He'll stay. He'll. I'm telling you right now, if you win a national championship, where else you want to go?
Right.
You want to go somewhere else and win a national championship, or you want to keep the established culture you got there, be the big man on campus that he likes being? I think, it's not hard to find donations if you're winning Natty. So I think if it gets to that point, Lane Kiffin may stay in Ole Miss, Oxford forever.
Oh, wait. So you're just doing the reverse. You're saying he'll stay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's not going. Now, if he keeps getting close and close, you know, and then maybe can't have the roster that he wants or yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I could see him maybe going to one of them powerhouse blue chip programs. But Ole Miss is becoming one of those programs the more 10-win seasons they put on the board. And if they make it to a national championship and win it, why would he leave? He's got such a sweet situation down there.
Well, because you can't, I shouldn't say can't, but it's not proven that you can do that annually. That's the problem.
I mean, he's putting together rosters annually. And
what did he say last year, Shane?
And he went out and got them, didn't he?
He said we can't compete with these big boys here is what he said. And he, this offseason, after going out, you're right, he went out there and got them, and then he bent over backwards to try to get the Alabama job. So I think he would. I think he would leave.
But, again, money talks and bullshit walks, Mike. And if it keeps coming in and they keep getting the players that Lane Kiffin wants, I don't see him going anywhere else. Just buying bigger beach houses in Florida, so on his off time he can take his yachts out, you know. So I see that happening. He obviously has a draw to Florida, but brother, I'm telling you, if you're winning and it's working, then why leave?
Mm-hmm. And I would say this too, because this is Cousin Adam here. He's not the first one to ask. We basically getting asked this every week. Will Kiffin take the Florida job? Will Kiffin take that job? Will he this, that, and the other? If they're pursuing a national championship like we think they will this year, he's not going anywhere this year because the coaching calendar just doesn't. I mean, Florida's not going to sit on its hands and say, let's say their season goes sideways, which a lot of people, I don't think it will, but a lot of people think it will. And they're going to fire Billy in November. Mm-hmm. They're not going to sit here and say, all right, well, we're going to wait for Ole Miss season to run through mid-January. That's not the way it works. You fire someone in November, you want someone in there before the signing period in early December. So I think Ole Miss being so good this year is certainly going to keep Lane there for another year. But again, if Saban retires, and after the season, then it would make sense. So he's in a tricky spot there, but I think they're safe essentially because they're so good right now.
Now, if he sends his GA Arnett down there a little early, that may be a telltale sign, Mike.
All right. Again, speaking of confident fans here, Shane, MIZ till I die. With the schedule Mizzou has, let's throw it up here. With the schedule they have and the roster Drinks put together, do you realistically think Mizzou can go undefeated in the all the way to the SEC championship, going in to the college football? He's not saying to Atlanta. He's saying into the damn playoff undefeated. And if so, how likely can they compete for the whole dang thing?
I don't know how many times I got to beat this drum, Mike. I'm telling you, Mizzou's going to the college football playoffs. But are they going undefeated? I don't think so. I think they slip up somewhere. Everybody's going to point to the Alabama game, but it may be the A&M game. It may be the Oklahoma game. There's going to be one that's going to come up and bite them, I'm afraid. And you're talking about winning an SEC championship, so potentially playing Georgia or a Texas or some of these teams that are not on your schedule right now. So, yeah, I do think that they make the playoffs, but I don't think that Missouri is going to go undefeated.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I think it's very unlikely, Shane. We're getting good comments. Who's going to replace Schrader, all that. But again, it's SEC's not getting any easier. And again, with this schedule, I think it's very realistic they win 10, 11 games again.
Yeah.
Now, this is not fair, but I'm going to do it anyway, Shane. Let's give them Georgia's schedule. Let's say Mizzou's playing Georgia's schedule. At Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss, Tennessee comes to town. And, oh, by the way, you got to play Auburn at home, Clemson, and Florida, neutral sites. I mean, I don't think we would be guaranteeing Mizzou's going to the playoff with this schedule. Would you guarantee?
Yeah.
You're fucking crazy. How many beers you had, Shane? Again, I'm saying, could they make it? Yes. Would I guarantee it?
Well,
hell no, I wouldn't guarantee it.
All right, go back to the schedule here. And the only reason I'm guaranteeing it is because I think Georgia is legitimately one of those teams that has one of those schedules that could make a college football playoffs with 9 wins because of how tough it is. So if Mizzou had this schedule, and let's say they lost to Bama, Texas, and Ole Miss, that they still got a lot of top 25 wins on theirs. And I guess it would depend on how they did it. Right. But I'm just not convinced that Mizzou takes a huge step back. I do think that they may have a tough. It may be tough to convince me that they're the best team in the SEC, but I don't think that they can't hang with most of them.
Well,
9 wins, Mike.
They can hang with most of these teams, and guaranteeing a playoff is two different things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you this: if those 3 losses I just told you happen, would you let Georgia into the college football playoff?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. That's all I got to say.
But Georgia's starting at number 1.
Yeah, well, Mizzou won't be far behind. After 4 weeks, after they smoke everybody through the first 4, well, we're doing Georgia's schedule. After they smoke Clemson, then all of a sudden they will be the number 2 team in the country.
I don't know. We kind of went sideways there, but no, I don't think hardly anyone's going undefeated.
No,
not in this new look SEC, and I think to hold anyone to that standard is pretty wild. But I remember what I was going to say now, Shane. When I went back, and I think I said this the other day with Steven, but I'll just rehash it real quick. When I went back and did the SEC returning offensive line snaps,
yeah, Missouri
was literally the only one that had essentially 5 offensive linemen play the entire season, and they essentially had no other player that played significant snaps. And that's unusual. I just went through all 16, and many of them had 7 to 8 offensive linemen, heavy rotation. And why is that important, Shane? Is because they had 5 linemen, and they didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Now, 2 of them went on to the NFL. They got Caden Green to shore up another spot, and they got another transfer. I'm not saying they're going to have a bad offensive line, but what I am saying is
the odds.
What are the odds you go 2 years in a row with the 5 offensive linemen and you get no injuries? It seems very, very, very unlikely. So they're playing with fire a little bit there, in my opinion, just on the line of scrimmage. That's a position we all overlook, but I think that is something to monitor there.
Well, just remember, May 23rd is when Mike put that evil spell on you guys.
Well, speaking of evil, Shade, cousin Alex Wood, he's got a good one here. Shade says Kentucky. Come on, Shade. Hold on. I'm about to throw up Kentucky's schedule while I read this one. Cousin Shade says Kentucky's going to win 8 games minimum. Whoa, buddy. So that means 9 or 10 is a possibility, I guess. Laugh out loud. I think he's in the sauce after all those bourbon bet wins. So here's the question. How is Kentucky going to get to 8 wins when South Carolina kicks their teeth in week 2? That's a question from Alex Wood. So just based on, you did put that out there, Shay. So let's say Kentucky goes 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
Could Kentucky get to 8-4 if they lose to South Carolina, or must they win that game to get there?
No, they have to win South Carolina.
Yeah,
that is a must-win game. The ones that I've got the marks is Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas. Those are the 4. Now, I'm not saying that they're just going to steamroll the other teams. There's a good shot that they could lose to those other teams, but there's something about Kentucky, man, that reminds me a lot of our Mizzou from last year. You got a unproven, now very athletic, mobile quarterback.
Right.
You got a loaded receiver room. You just talked about Mizzou's offensive line. Guess who's got a hell of an offensive line? Kentucky. They've got just enough on defense. I think they're kind of underrated, just as Mizzou was last year. There's a lot of similarities here, other than the coaching. And even then last year, we had a lot of question marks about Missouri's coaching coming into that season. Mm-hmm. They're just very, very similar. So I'm telling you, brother, this may be the breakout team of the SEC this upcoming year.
Yeah, if you look at some of the transfers they got, Shane, we're talking guys from Georgia, guys from Alabama, guys from Ohio State. So they're bringing in guys that know how to win. I think that'll be important too. Not that they don't know how to win in Kentucky, but I think it's a different level if you're bringing in these like lower level guys.
Yeah.
And you're hoping they could play at this level. I think Kentucky's pretty secure knowing the guys they're bringing in know how to play at a high level in the SEC.
Yeah, and I will tell you, it's going to be I hate to just make it simple, but it's going to be about Brock. Is he legit or not? How is that dynamic with the new? Just implementing a new kind of offense under him. I mean, there are a lot of question marks, a lot of moving pieces. But if Brock hits the ground running, watch out. Kentucky fans are going to be excited.
Right. All right. How about this one, Shane? I mean, I already know the answer to it, but I just want to put it out there from Big Orange Hub.
Yeah.
I wonder, he might be a relative out there we don't know about. Will Cousin Shane ever make another wager that includes walking X amount of miles again?
Hell no. Absolutely not. No exercise bets at all, Mike. Unless I know like the limit. If I said, okay, the most is 3 miles, yeah, maybe I'll do that. But I am definitely not going to leave something open-ended that could be as bad as that 13 was.
How about this comment from Cousin Tim, Ole Miss fan? Kentucky's like a woman across the bar. She looks good. Do you get up close? But I wanted to ask you this though, Shay. So the walking again, you've covered it extensively. Worst punishment. I'm just trying to think. Is there anything? I mean, hell, we dumped you with mayo. We've done the clown. We've done all kinds of garbage. Is there? Can you think of a worse punishment? Something that we've not done. Something that's worse than this physical exercise, walking 13 miles.
Look at me, Mike. I mean, I've heard it all. I've seen it all. Exercise is definitely the thorn in my side. That and all the little Debbies I got hidden over here. Just kidding. I've been eating better, I promise. But no, I think that one has always been the worst. Is just is physical. Physical attributes is something I don't have.
I got you. Okay. How about this one, Shane, from Twinkst the Hedges here? Obviously a big Georgia fan here. When can we drink together? Well, buddy, we got some good news here. We have been approved yet again. I don't know how. I don't know why. But we have been approved for SEC Media Days. So we're going to be going back. It's one of the highlights of the year for us, really. Getting to see so many different media members and all that stuff, and the coaches and the players and all that. So it's going to be down in Dallas this year. We did a big drinking party in Nashville last year. Shane barely survived it, but we're planning to do another one. We don't have any firm information, but I think we're going to do it. So Media Day starts on a Monday, ends on a Thursday.
Yep.
I think what we've been kind of kicking around is do it that Thursday night, final night of SEC Media Days down in Dallas. Again, we don't quite know the time and the place just yet. Going to work with some people that know the area a lot better to give us information on when we should do it, where we should do it, things of that nature. But hey, if you're anywhere close to Dallas, I know that probably very few of you are, but it's worth coming out, I would think, to come hang out and just, I mean, you should see how hammered Shane got at this last one. If it's anything like that one, I promise it'll be a good time.
Well, there's two things I want to do in Dallas is try all the barbecue and try to stay not drunk, okay? Because that was the problem. I went a little too far the last time, so we're going to have a limit. Maybe throw a cowboy hat in there. I think
they didn't have food where we were. Maybe we got to go somewhere where we can soak up the food. Yeah, that would really make sure we're there for a lot longer.
Well, they say Texas barbecue's better than any barbecue, so I'm ready to I'm willing to die on that hill and find out if that's true or not, Mike.
Mr. Bloodline said, Cousin Shane's liver has entered the transfer portal. And then Gray got, Mike, are you and Shane coming to Norman July 1st? Paul Feinbaum will be there. Yeah, I mean, that's the plan right now. We are actually, this is pretty exciting too. I don't want to get too much information because we don't know 100%, but I guarantee I'll be there. We're working with local businesses that are going to put us up and everything like that. So yeah, July 1, I'm planning to be there, Norman, Oklahoma. That's going to be one hell of a time. And then final one here, Shane, from Lucid Dreamer.
Yay.
Would you guys consider some kind of drinking game for the live audience? We, everyone take a drink when Cousin Shane says this or that. We love the audience participation games. Cheers. So that's from Lucid Dreamer. I'm just throwing this at you right now, Shane, but I like the idea, and I would drink with the audience. You know what?
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I think, especially too, a little bit closer to football, maybe Saturday we can have some stuff. I'm just looking for all kinds of different ways to interact and hang out with you guys because college football is right around the corner. And, if you're listening now, by gosh, you're the diehards, you know? I know your ass is going to be there in August when we have kickoff. So I appreciate and I'll do whatever, man. I like to drink. I don't need an excuse for it, Mike.
Exactly. Cousin Andrew says, currently Googling strip clubs near Dallas Convention Center. So,
oh, gosh.
Michael Riley says, how about one drink for every touchdown Vandy gives up this season?
Oh, my gosh.
We'd all die.
Yeah.
But, hey, that, believe it or not, Shay, that's all the questions I got. Unless anybody's got a question here, or I didn't know if you wanted to read reviews.
Oh, shit. Oh, Mike. Yeah, that's how prepared this cat is.
I even brought a song this time to play, but maybe we'll get to that next time.
Yeah, we'll do. I promise. Sorry, I have to. It's a long thing. I can't explain it, but I've got to screenshot them to do it, and I forgot to do that. I appreciate it. We could get some more in next Thursday, and I promise to get those reviews in.
I could read them to you live. No, I'm just. All right, buddy. Well, hey, I guess that's going to do it then for this week's of shows. We got another guest is going to be on the next episode. I think you guys will really appreciate that one. We actually got some fun things happening next week as well, so it's going to be a little bit different as well. Live show, so be tuned in for that. But hey, if that's all you got, buddy, that's all I got. Anything else?
What a hell of an exit, Mike. You know, we I will say this. I appreciate all the questions. There was a lot that we couldn't get to, but there was a lot of folks that had some great ones. But some of them we have plans to go over a little bit closer to season. So just I don't want you to feel like your questions fell on deaf ears. We went through every single one of them, and if we didn't mention one on the show, it's probably because it's going to be aired on a future one, and maybe you'll have a little bit more on the breakdown of the team. So, but again, I appreciate all the cousins hanging out with us tonight. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and click that thing. You know what I'm saying? Give us a thumbs up. It means a lot. I know it seems stupid, and it probably is, but it helps us out if you close out the chat for some reason and give me a thumbs up. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. Drink some cold beer. Have a fun, wild weekend. Monday's a holiday, so try to behave. Don't get arrested like them golfers up there in whatever state that was.
Yeah. All right, perfect note to go out on, brother. I appreciate you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.